So today I wanted to talk a little bit about the Game Awards and what that could mean for the world of gaming, because something wonderful happened. And I'm not saying this is like my favorite game of the year won all of these awards. No. What I'm trying to say is that what happened at the Game Awards and what happened for one studio in particular was very healthy for the gaming community as a whole. It was very healthy for game development, was very healthy for the future of gaming. And I'll get into it in just a minute. Best debut indie game. Now, there's a lot of strong opinions here. There are 4 very, very strong contenders here. Blueprints, Despelote, Dispatch. Every one of these games is incredible. I have played 3 of them. I didn't play Despelote. Dispatch, one of the best narrative games I have ever played, one of the best stories I've ever played. I was very afraid they were going to take a direction with the game that they didn't take. God, I was pleasantly surprised. Blueprints, incredible puzzler. Very fun, very easy to get a hang of, but very hard to find the tiny details. Very difficult to manage your resources, too, to make sure that you get to where you need to go. Made by, I think, one person. But the winner, and I think this is rightfully deserved, too, the winner is Clair Obscur Expedition 33, because this studio didn't do anything ever before. Every member of this team had never touched game development before creating Clair Obscur. Like, one day, the head of the studio was like, let's make a game. And got a bunch of people together and was like, we're making a game now. And this is what they made. They were inspired by Final Fantasy, and you can tell. You can tell it's deep in its DNA. But this game here is, I think, the true debut indie game, because like a lot of the team from Dispatch was already on other studios, other projects. The person who made Blueprints, I don't know much about their background. I don't know anything about Despelote either. But I do know that if anyone deserves the, hey, let's make a game award, it's these guys. Sandfall Entertainment, or Sandfall Interactive, rather. Best independent game, for the same reasons I listed before. Right there, Clair Obscur is your winner. I find it very interesting that Dispatch was not placed on here. But you know what? There's a lot of contenders here. There's a lot of really good stuff here. In just these last 4 alone, that's hefty. That's hard to beat. Best scored music. This is a Cinderella story. Every one of the next awards that Clair Obscur is nominated for is a Cinderella story. These are all people and teammates who made something on a whim. Like 3 years ago, I think, Lorien Testard was just a SoundCloud artist. Just posting shit on SoundCloud, hoping to get into the games industry, hoping and praying for someone to notice him and recognize him. And then Sandfall was like, hey, we like your stuff. Come with us and help us make our game. And then he created one of the best scores in all of gaming. I have never experienced a score in a game that has made me actually cry mid-boss fight. And Lorien Testard managed to make that happen. It's not just audio, though. There's a big team. The music is just a very big part of making you feel those emotions. And this is a very deserved win for Lorien Testard. Now we have Best Art Direction. This is a game that's all about paint and art. Of course it's going to be beautiful. Of course it's going to have the best enemy design. Of course it's going to have the best landscape design. Of course the characters are going to look like they came off of a canvas. It's just near perfection for the story it's trying to tell, and for what... If they had limitations in production, I would not have been able to tell, because they covered it up so well. The art style might have been a way to cover up issues they had in development, but it all made sense to the story they were trying to tell. It's beautiful. If you haven't played it yet, what the fuck are you doing? Best narrative. Speaks for itself here. I don't want to spoil anything because the game is so good, and it's a gut punch at every stage. If you've never played it before, go play it. It's awesome. If you've played Final Fantasy X, I'll tell you right now, the story, there's a lot of concepts they use that are very similar to Final Fantasy X. Best game direction. Bunch of dudes said, hey, let's make a game. And they proceeded to crush everything. Game was so good, so powerful, so beautiful. Of course this is going to win you get best game direction. Of course it is. And of course, game of the year, Expedition 33. Tell you a story. Bunch of people came together with no experience. They even said it in their acceptance speech. They came together with no experience, decided, let's make a video game. They were inspired by old Final Fantasy. I think I've said this all already before, but I'm gonna say it again because it bears repeating. They wanted to tell a story. They went and they found a hodgepodge of people from all corners of the internet and created a team of 32. Sure, they had help from Kepler Interactive. They created a team of like 32, 30-ish people, and they started working on this. They were able to debut it at, I think, the Sony Showcase, whatever that's called, a few years back. They had a ton of finished product ready to go. They needed to put a little extra polish on it. They had a lot of extra work to do, a lot of voices. They even hired on Charlie Cox. Yes, they had a big budget. They had a lot of help. That's because they were able to show their dreams to somebody. They were able to show their dreams to people who invested in them. They were able to convey it well enough to get that level of income, get that level of money, and be able to produce this level of game. They were nobody before this. They were nothing. And then they produced the game of the year, the winning game. This is important for gamers and developers everywhere, especially for those of you who are aspiring to create stuff. Even people like me should look at this and be like, holy shit, that's huge. Because that was a bunch of people who decided, hey, I have a dream and I want to do something and I want to create something beautiful. And they did it. And they did so well that they became winners. They won every single award, almost every award they were nominated for. Almost every single one. The only one they didn't win was like best audio design. This should be the most inspirational story of our generation right now for our people. For those of us who are gamers, those of us who are creators, those of us who are writers, those of us who make movies, like this should be the thing that tells you, hey, I can do that. Because they did. And they were just like you. That's massive.